You ever work your entire life for something, only to realize that the people you expected to be proud of you are the ones silently waiting for you to fail? That is exactly what happened to me. My name is Emily, and I opened my dream restaurant, the one I had talked about since I was a little girl. But the night I cut the red ribbon and turned on the lights, not a single member of my family showed up. And that silence, it burned deeper than any insult ever could. Growing up, food was my escape. My mother, Lydia, used to joke that I could turn anything in the kitchen into something edible. My dad was more practical. Cooking won't pay the bills, he said every time I mentioned culinary school. He wanted me to work in his hardware store. My brother Ethan followed in his footsteps, loud, confident, always the golden child. Me, I was the dreamer. When I finally got into the Culinary Institute in New York, they acted like I had joined the circus. I still remember Dad's words when I left home. Do not come running back when you fail. I laughed it off at the time, but that line, it stayed with me. It took me 8 years, cooking in hotel kitchens, working double shifts, sleeping in studio apartments smaller than my childhood bathroom. But I saved every penny. And when the perfect space opened downtown, I signed the lease with shaking hands. Evelyn's Table, named after my late grandmother, who used to sneak me recipes and say, one day, they will eat your food and remember who you are. The opening night was supposed to be magical. I had spent weeks inviting everyone, friends, mentors, my old coworkers, and of course my family. I even sent personalized invitations to my parents and Ethan. Front row seats for my biggest night, I wrote. My mother replied with a thumbs up emoji. My father didn't reply at all. Ethan texted, busy that weekend? But congrats. I convinced myself they were joking. The night came. I wore the white chef coat I had been saving for years. The candles flickered, jazz played softly, and the air smelled of roasted garlic and butter. Guests started arriving, my friends, some influencers, old teachers. Cameras clicked. I kept glancing at the door, expecting my family any moment. 8 o'clock, then 9, then 10. The door kept opening, but never for them. When the night ended, everyone clapped, toasted champagne, and hugged me. And still, not one of them walked in. After the last guest left, I stood in the middle of my dream, surrounded by empty plates and half-finished glasses, and I cried. Not the soft movie kind of cry, the ugly, gasping kind where years of pain spill out at once. My sous chef, Lila, hugged me and whispered, "You did it." Emily, they missed out. But the truth was, I felt like I had failed anyway. 2 days later, my mom called. Her tone was casual, like nothing had happened. "Hey, sweetie, how did your little restaurant thing go?" My voice cracked. "It was perfect, Mom. I just wish you were there." There was a pause. Then she said, "Well, your father did not think it was a good idea to encourage you. You know how he is. We did not want to make a big fuss." A big fuss. My entire life had been about proving that I could do something worth fussing over. I hung up politely, but something inside me hardened that day. Weeks passed. The restaurant gained traction. Food bloggers wrote glowing reviews. People lined up outside every night. Still, I never got a call from my dad. Not a single visit. Then one Sunday, I got a text from Ethan. "Mom's birthday dinner. Our place, 6 p.m., don't forget the wine." I stared at it for a long time. No apology. No mention of the restaurant. Just like nothing had happened. I went, though, because part of me still wanted to believe we could be a family again. When I walked in, everyone was laughing. My parents, Ethan, his wife, their perfect little twins. My mother's table was full of takeout boxes, Chinese food. "We did not want you to have to cook," my mom said with a grin. That was the first time I saw the newspaper article taped to the fridge. It was my face. Local chef's new restaurant receives city's top food award. I froze. "You read this?" My dad shrugged. "We did." "You finally got some attention, huh? Good for you," he smirked. "Let us hope it lasts longer than your last hobby." That line cut through me like a blade. I looked at Ethan. He avoided my eyes, picking rice off his plate. That was the moment I realized something. They did not just forget my success. They resented it. I left early, and for the first time in my life, I stopped trying to win their love. But life has a strange way of giving you chances to rewrite the story. 2 months later, the mayor's office called. They wanted Evelyn's Table to host the annual charity gala, a massive event. City officials, journalists, CEOs. The kind of thing my dad would have sold his soul to attend. I said yes, and then I planned something bold. I sent new invitations, elegant gold envelopes, to my entire family. "You are formally invited to an exclusive event at Evelyn's Table." Dress code? Formal. They thought it was a regular dinner. They had no idea what was coming. The night of the gala arrived, and my restaurant looked like something out of a dream. Chandeliers glowed, photographers lined the walls, and a live orchestra played softly. As the guests arrived, I spotted my parents at the door. My mom wore her pearls. My dad straightened his tie like he was walking into royalty. When they saw the mayor shake my hand, their expressions shifted. Confusion, then pride, then something darker. My dad whispered to Ethan, "This is bigger than I thought." They had no idea that the entire event was dedicated to Evelyn's table, and that my speech would change everything. As I stood on stage, microphone in hand, the cameras flashed. I smiled, calm, collected. "This restaurant was built on two things, love and rejection," I said. The crowd chuckled lightly. "You see, sometimes the people who are supposed to believe in you are the ones who make you believe in yourself by walking away." I looked directly at my parents. My mother's smile faded. My father's jaw tightened. This place exists because I was told my dream would never work. And tonight, I dedicate this success not just to my grandmother Evelyn, but to everyone who was ever told they were not enough. "You are." The room erupted in applause. My family sat frozen. Afterward, I saw them standing awkwardly near the bar. My father said, "You could have given us a heads up before making us look like villains." I smiled. "I did not make you look like anything. You just finally had to see yourselves." I turned and walked away, my heels clicking against the marble floor, my name echoing in the room, not as the daughter who disappointed them, but as the woman who proved them wrong. And as the doors closed behind me, I realized something powerful. I had never needed their presence to make my dream real. I only needed their absence to find out who I truly was. Because sometimes revenge is not loud. It is quiet. It is success served cold and with perfect presentation and a glass of champagne. The night of the gala ended with applause echoing through the marble floors, cameras flashing and the faint sound of clinking glasses. But the moment the guests were gone and the lights dimmed, I stood alone in the quiet restaurant, staring at the chair where my father had sat, arms crossed, his pride bruised but unbroken. I thought I would feel triumphant, but instead there was an ache, deep, quiet, and unsettling. Because winning, I realized, did not erase years of being unseen. The next morning, my phone buzzed. It was Ethan. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. His voice was low. "You really got to Dad last night," he said. He has not stopped talking about it. Mom is furious, but I think they finally get it. I laughed softly. Do they? Or do they just hate that the world saw it first? He paused. Maybe both. Then, after a moment, he added, "Emily, for what it is worth, I am proud of you." That caught me off guard. Ethan and I had never said those words to each other. Not once. He had always been the golden boy, the one Dad trusted to run the family business. But that morning, for the first time, his voice carried something like regret. Still, I did not let it soften me, not yet. I had built too much armor to let one call take it down. Weeks passed. The restaurant was busier than ever. Full reservations, glowing reviews, waiting lists that stretched for weeks. I hired more staff, expanded the menu, and even started training young chefs. Every night, I would stand near the kitchen window, watching people laugh over food I created, and I would feel something close to peace. Then one afternoon, my manager rushed in, her face pale. "Emily," she said, holding out her phone. "You need to see this." It was an article. Local business faces property dispute. My restaurant's name was in bold letters. My heart stopped as I read the details. The building owner had decided to sell the property. And guess who was the buyer? My father. I felt my chest tighten. He had always said he wanted nothing to do with my dream. And yet now he was trying to take it from me, quietly, legally perfectly timed. I called him that night. "Why?" I asked. "Why now?" He sighed as if tired of the game. "Because you built something valuable on land you do not own. That was your first mistake, Emily, and business is business." I wanted to scream, but I did not. Instead, I took a deep breath and said, "Then I guess you are about to learn that your daughter knows business too." That was the night everything changed. I hired a lawyer, a quiet man named Gerald, who had a reputation for being ruthless in court. We spent hours going through contracts, ownership clauses, and lease terms. And then, in the middle of page 14, Gerald smirked. "You said you signed this lease 5 years ago?" "Yes," I said. He tapped a paragraph with his pen. "Then your father cannot buy it. The property is under a protected small business clause. It cannot be sold to a related party without the tenant's approval." I stared at him. "You are saying he just trapped himself?" Gerald smiled. "I am saying you are about to serve him a taste of his own game." The next morning, I showed up at my parents' house. My mother opened the door, wearing her robe, surprise etched across her face. "Emily, what are you doing here?" "I came to see Dad," I said, stepping past her. He was in the living room, sipping coffee, reading the paper, like always. He did not even look up. "If you are here to beg, do not bother. The deal is already in motion." I dropped a folder on the table. "Then you might want to stop reading that paper and start reading this." He glanced at it, uninterested at first. But as he read, his expression shifted. Confusion, then anger. "You went through my contract?" "No," I said calmly. "I went through mine." My mother looked between us, worried. "What is going on?" I met my father's eyes. "You tried to buy the building out from under me, but you forgot the clause that forbids a related party purchase without my written consent. So congratulations, your deal is void." He slammed his hand on the table. You do not talk to me like that in my house. I leaned in closer. It is funny, Dad. You never thought this was my world. But now it is the only one you cannot control. For a long moment, no one said a word. Then I turned and walked out, leaving the sound of my heels echoing on their polished floor. The same sound that had followed me the night. I left home for culinary school. But revenge, I learned, is not always a one-time act. Sometimes it keeps unfolding, quietly, strategically, like a recipe that takes patience. A week later, Ethan came to see me. He looked tired, guilt written across his face. You need to know something, he said. Dad did not just try to buy your building. He told investors that you were closing soon. He wanted them to back his new restaurant, under his name. I stared at him, speechless. He is trying to compete with me? Ethan nodded. He even hired a PR firm. But I could not keep pretending. So I quit. That moment was strange. For years, Ethan had been Dad's shadow. And now, for the first time, he was standing on my side. Why are you telling me this? I asked quietly. Because I am done choosing him over what is right, he said. And because I want to help. So we did. Ethan and I started gathering everything. The fake investor pitches, the copied menu designs, even the leaked supplier contracts. Within weeks, I had enough proof to bury his project before it even opened. But I did not want to destroy him. I wanted him to see what he had created and what he had lost. When his restaurant's grand announcement night came, I showed up. Not to gloat and just to watch. The press was there, but confusion rippled through. The crowd as word spread that investors had backed out. My father walked onto the stage holding his notes, but his hands trembled. His voice cracked as he tried to smile. There has been a change of plans. I stood in the back, arms crossed, silent. He finally saw me, and for the first time, he looked small. After the crowd dispersed, he walked up to me. His voice was low. You did this. I nodded. No, Dad. You did this when you taught me that survival means fighting for what is yours. He opened his mouth to speak, but I stopped him. You wanted a lesson in business. Consider this your masterclass. And then I turned away. Months later, the dust settled. My restaurant expanded into a second location. Ethan became my business partner. We rebuilt something real, something our family had never taught us. Respect through equality. Mom visited one afternoon. She sat quietly, sipping coffee, looking around at the bustling kitchen. It is beautiful, she whispered. It was always meant to be, I said. She hesitated before speaking again. Your father misses you. I smiled faintly. He misses control, not me. Her eyes softened. Maybe, but he also knows he lost the only person who could have made him proud. That sentence stayed with me, because in a way it was true. A few weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. No name, just a familiar handwriting. I unfolded it slowly. Emily, you proved me wrong. You made something real. I do not know how to say sorry without sounding weak, so I will just say thank you for showing me what strength actually looks like. Dad,